Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. Pretty much all of the really impressive, biggest snakes in the world live online or in Hollywood. But even in the real world, a handful of snake species can grow to immense proportions. The longest of them, pythons, can stretch well beyond the length of George Washington's 21-foot-tall nose on Mount Rushmore, which is a more fascinating sight than all of the Anaconda movies. Today, we are looking at 10 of the biggest snakes ever discovered. Let's begin. Number 10. Amethystine Python. Amethystine Python, or less poetically, scrub python, is a gentle giant. In Papua New Guinea and Australia, there are no bigger snakes than this scaly beauty. They can grow up to an enormous length of 24 feet, as proved by the Guinness World Records, and can weigh up to 200 pounds, heavier than their neighboring kangaroo. Scrub pythons are pretty curious animals, and sometimes even slither inside people's homes in Australia. The good news, however, is that they're quite harmless for humans, as their favorite food is much smaller. That is, they catch rodents, bats, and birds that come to streams for water, and until then, they quietly wait for their prey. Like pit vipers, these non-venomous snakes have heat sensors in the pit of their muzzles, which help them to see warm-blooded animals better, so they can hunt them for dinner.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. The Indian Python. Remember Kaa from the Jungle Book? Let us introduce you to its prototype, the Indian python. Despite its name, it can not only be found in India, but also in Pakistan and China. This snake is truly huge and can reach up to a length of 21 feet. They are almost as tall as giraffes. Indian pythons also prefer to stay in damp surroundings, but unlike the yellow anacondas, they can easily find a home in dry land as well. They can be wholly submerged in water for many minutes if necessary, but usually prefer to remain near the bank. When a young python hatches from its egg, it's almost helpless, depending on its mother to feed and protect it, but in a couple of days, it becomes independent and grows into an adult in a time of 2 years. Lethargic and slow-moving, even in their natural habitat, they exhibit timidity and rarely try to attack, even when attacked. Number 8. The boa constrictor. If you ever read at least the first book of the Harry Potter series, or watched the movie, you probably remember a young wizard accidentally letting a huge snake out of its container. That was in fact a boa constrictor, one of the largest snakes across the world. The females of this species can reach up to 14 feet in length. Now that's about half as long as the famous London red bus. It's one of the 2 animals in history named exactly the same in both common languages and scientific Latin, the other one being the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex. Like many large, non-venomous snakes, the boa constrictor is a peaceful giant that just loves lying in the sun, doing nothing at all. Even on a hunt, it would rather lie and wait until its prey comes close within a striking range, and then swoop down on it. It is usually kept and bred in captivity, as it's easy to deal with because of it being a peaceful snake. Number 7. The yellow anaconda. The yellow anaconda belongs to the boa species of the giant snakes, but it's nothing like the previous one. It measures up to 15 feet in length, and so is even larger than the boa constrictor. Females are generally larger than their male counterparts, and this species commonly weighs up to 25 to 35 kilograms, but specimens weighing more than 55 kilograms have been observed too. This snake is slow, but tends to be aggressive, and doesn't like to be around humans when held in captivity, and so can be very unpredictable. Yellow anacondas can only be found in South America and can mostly be found in shallow waters of river regions. In fact, even its scientific first name, Eunectes, means good swimmer in the Greek language. Yet, there's a sinister thing about these serpents. They're known to eat their own kind. Snake recycling, probably. Nobody knows how often it happens, though. Like all boas and pythons, it is non-venomous and kills its prey by constriction. Number 6. The Burmese python. If you ever find yourself going through a tropical marsh in Southeast Asia, make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings, as Burmese pythons like to rest in damp areas like those, and with their brown color that camouflages their body, you'll have trouble seeing them. Even despite their huge size, they can grow up to 19 feet in length. Try not to be too scared when you see it hanging from a tree and looking at you tenderly in the eye. These pythons have what is called a prehensile tail, which is a tail that is specialized in climbing and hanging off of tree branches. Perhaps the most unexpected place to meet it would be in Florida, but don't be surprised if you find one there, because we're already warning you about them being there. Burmese pythons were actually illegally imported into Florida to be kept as pets by folks, but some of them escaped and multiplied, and their population in Florida is estimated to be upwards of 100,000. So now, if you live in or around Florida and wish to see a Burmese python, which I think you probably wouldn't wish to see even in your wildest of dreams, you won't have to travel all the way to Southeast Asia for that. Number 5. GIGANTOPHIS. Now, we've covered the living snakes, but what was the largest one ever? Well, one of them was GIGANTOPHIS, a giant snake that went extinct about 40 million years ago. It was considered the biggest in the history of Earth until 2009. Its estimated size reached up to 35 feet. GIGANTOPHIS used to inhabit the area that is called the Sahara Desert in today's world, but at the time, it was a sea, so this serpent was a water snake. It wasn't a python or boa, but belonged to its own separate family of snakes, called Amethystine, which unfortunately went extinct altogether. Number 4. African rock python. The African rock python is one of the only 11 species of its kind, and it is the second largest snake in the world. This huge brown snake reaches up to the maximum length of 25 feet and weighs almost that much of a giant panda. Unlike all the previous entries on the list, this one is pretty serious about its meals. A rock python can catch an antelope and eat it whole without giving a second thought. Even the cold-blooded crocodiles are afraid of these beasts because it can eat one of their kind too. In 1958, a zoologist found a young, 4-foot-long Nile crocodile inside an African python's stomach. Hard to swallow, but it's true. In its homeland, this serpent is held in reverence and fear, but in fact, it's not very keen on munching on humans. The snake is found in a variety of habitats, from forests to deserts, although usually near sources of water. The snake becomes dormant during the dry season, and although the snake is not endangered, it does face threats from habitat reduction and hunting. Some cultures in sub-Saharan Africa eat this snake as a delicacy, which might generally be a threat to its population. Number 3. TITANOBOA. The biggest serpent that ever existed is the TITANOBOA. Its fossilized remains were discovered and measured in Colombia in 2009, and it made a sensation. This gigantic snake could grow to an absolutely epic size of 42 feet in length and could weigh over a ton. Scientists believe that such a constrictor could easily crush even the hardest of animals with its weight alone, and its length allowed it to hug middle-sized dinosaurs. The base of its diet actually lived in the water, as the TITANOBOA loved eating fish like nothing else. The TITANOBOA also became a celebrity, as it inspired many movies, including the monster horrors. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by one of our subscribers, so if you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it on over to us. Who knows? We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. The green anaconda. This picture seems photoshopped, but the green anaconda is definitely real. The green anaconda is slightly longer than her yellow sister, reaching the longest of 17 feet, but at the same time, it's much heavier too. It can weigh as much as a python, 1.5 times its length, so you can well imagine how powerful its constriction can be. The funny thing about the green anacondas is that a lot of people think that it's the longest and heaviest of all snakes, but that's far from the truth. All across the regions where anacondas live, there are still rumors that these snakes reach a length double or even triple their maximum documented length, and these rumors persist. However, a scientist who studied over 1,000 green anacondas stated clearly in his works that a snake like this would never be longer than 17 feet. Maybe people just love mysteries. Like all boas, this one is also a non-venomous constrictor and kills its prey by constricting it. Number 1. Reticulated Python. Finally, the reticulated python holds first place as the world's largest living snake. The largest specimen of this snake made it to the Guinness World Records in 2011 with 25.2 feet length and 350-pound weight. Its name was Medusa, and it lived in a zoo in Kansas City, Missouri. An adult reticulated python is large enough to swallow a whole human in one gulp, and they're known to do that sometimes. Mostly though, these snakes are quite peaceful and prefer to lie down without a lot of movement. Interestingly, although many pythons have dwarf forms that are much smaller than their fully grown counterparts, reticulated pythons also have super dwarf forms, which are kept as pets and only grow up to 8 feet in length. Well, that's just so much smaller, but still longer than the average human. Which of the listed snakes did you find the most impressive? Tell us about it in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.